Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, FPL Consult here, and today we're going to take a look at my Gameweek 2 transfer plan. So the return of the FPL season also means the return of the transfer plan series on this channel, where basically I take you guys through what I'm thinking with my team at this point in time, my thoughts about some players, and then we'll take a look at the team without any changes made before we go into the tinkering tool to make some transfers there and let you guys know what I'm thinking about doing with my team. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video and find it useful. If you do, please give it a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here. So it's important to note that I'm recording this during the Brentford and Tottenham game, so there are still some games to go, namely the Chelsea versus Liverpool game and also the Manchester United versus Wolves game. But barring any major injuries to the players in those games, this is what I'm thinking of my team at this point in time. So I'll take you through my squad balance, and for those of you new to this tool that I use, basically I categorize my players into 4 different categories: pending transfer, short-term holds, mid-term holds, and the foundation tier, as well as the bench players at the bottom. So it's kind of straightforward. Pending tier means that I'm likely to take that player out. A short-term hold is a player that I probably hold for 1 to 3 game weeks. The mid-term holds, I hold them for about slightly more than 3 game weeks, about 3 to 5 game weeks. And the foundation players are players that I would keep all the way until I wildcard, right? Same goes for the bench players. I'm likely not going to make too many bench changes as well. Those are just bench fodders for me, right? So going from the top to the bottom, let's take a look at the pending transfer in my team right now. And obviously, those of you who got the news that Gabriel is out of the starting 11 even before the deadline even hit, which was only about 5 minutes before, then maybe you've already done the Gabriel to Saliba move. So I got that news I think only 2 minutes before, but I made a decision to still hold on to Gabriel because I didn't want to be forced into a last minute transfer, which turned out to be the case where Gabriel did not play, and the point difference was mainly only 4 points, right? Because Gabriel scored 1 point and Saliba scored 5 points, right? So currently it's not too much of a difference, but I think moving forward I may have to take Gabriel out if we kind of see that he's not going to start consistently, which seems to be the case because of a tactical change that Arteta is making at this point in time, right? So I will discuss a little bit more about Gabriel in the next section. For the short-term holds, I have Salah, João Pedro, and also Estupinian. So the Brighton players are slightly easier to justify why they are in the short-term holds for me, because Brighton's fixtures get bad after game week 3, right? From game week 4 onwards, their fixtures are pretty bad, so I'm likely going to sell Pedro and Estupinian. For Salah, it's pretty obvious. I'm having him for that Bournemouth at home fixture next week, where I'm likely to captain him, and then after that I'm likely going to sell him to free up some funds. So he is also a short-term hold. For the mid-term holds, I have Eze and Mbeumo. Both of them are pretty decent for the medium term. They have good fixtures overall, and they are kind of the players in their teams, in their respective teams, that you would expect would score or get assists when either of those teams get goals, basically, right? So I do like them. They're all on set pieces and also on penalties for their respective teams as well. So they are in the mid-term holds for me. I'll probably hold them for about 3 to 5 game weeks or so, right? And for the foundation tier, these are players I'm never gonna sell. I'm likely not to move from my team at all. Haaland, Rashford, Saka, Ben Chilwell, and Andre Onana. Now, these are the players that I think I would hold until I wildcard, and I guess looking at these names here, you kind of know and they're justified to keep them in my team for the long term, right? So the bench players are Turner, Levi Colwill, Osula, and Kabore. I actually do like all of them at this point in time, especially Osula, who looks pretty sharp for Sheffield, and Kabore, who is bombing forward as we did expect for Luton Town. So Luton does have a blank, right, in game week 2, but moving forward from there, their fixtures are pretty okay. So if I do need to use Kabore, I'm not opposed to that as well. Colwell's fixtures are pretty good after game week 1, where they play Liverpool, right? And as for Turner, he is a 4.0 million starting keeper, so he actually is going to start for me in game week 2. We'll take a look at the how my team looks like for game week 2 without any changes made, but I do like that Turner is a starting keeper at this point in time, right? Of course, before they sign any other keeper like Dean Henderson, who is strongly linked to Nottingham Forest as well, right? So this is what I'm thinking about my players right now. Let me know what you guys think, and if you find this tool useful, do try it out for yourselves as well. And of course, as you get closer to the time where you are wildcarding, you would find that majority of your players would be in that pending transfer or short-term holds tier. So as you guys can see now, it's kind of heavy on the bottom where the foundation has majority of my players. But when you start to get to the period, maybe game week 7, game week 8, where you intend to wildcard, then this tool would actually flip, and the short-term holds as well as the pending transfer tiers would be heavier with players, right? So hopefully you guys find this useful, and let's now take a look at my team without any transfers made. So this is how my team is looking like without any transfers made. It's a 3-5-2 still, so the formation still holds. And what I've basically done is I've brought Onana down to the bench, brought Turner into the starting 11 for obvious reasons. Onana has Tottenham away, Turner has Sheffield at home. And aside from that, the whole team is remaining exactly the same. Now, something to note about Gabriel, who is still in my starting 11, is that at this point in time, I still don't feel like Gabriel is completely ruled out. And the thing is, when he plays and if he starts, he is still the better asset to own ahead of Saliba, right? Because his attacking threat is much better than Saliba, and from those set pieces, he is just really lethal. So I do want to see a little bit more from Arsenal, or at least take a look at more of their games to see whether Gabriel is 100% ruled out of games. And I do feel like tactically wise, against teams that play the low block like Nottingham Forest, obviously we may see that 3-5-2 or that 3-1-6 or 3-4-3, whichever formation you want to call that, where Arsenal only play 3 at the back and Gabriel is taken out, right? But as you saw towards the end of that Nottingham Forest game, Gabriel got brought in as well, and they took Martinelli out. So basically they reverted back to a back 4 again, and I do think like that may be what we see against stronger teams, possibly against Crystal Palace away, which is a side that are pretty decent as well. They're definitely better than Nottingham Forest, so maybe we see Gabriel start this game. I feel like selling him immediately now in game week 2 may be slightly too premature. I just want to see a little bit more. So for now, as it stands, I'm likely to still keep Gabriel, and so he's in my team for the time being. Estupiñán and Chilwell are on his flanks, and I'm going to keep them for this game. Estupiñán has Wolves away, Chilwell has West Ham away. Right, in the midfield, it's exactly the same. I am hoping that all these players will continue to deliver as it has a tougher fixture, Arsenal at home. But aside from that, for all the other players, I think it's pretty decent fixtures all around. Right, up front, Haaland at home against Newcastle, and then João Pedro has Wolves away. So the bench is also pretty much the same for the other players aside from Onana. Now, main thing about this game week 2 that I'm looking at is that I am hoping that Salah will do pretty well, because obviously having Salah in this team for game week 2 is when the captaincy call to go against Haaland is the major reason why I've gone for Salah in the first place. So hopefully that goes well, right, and it doesn't backfire. I do think like Haaland did look really sharp in game week 1 as well. So against Newcastle, actually Newcastle do look really, really strong, especially after that 5-1 win against Aston Villa. So I am hoping that Newcastle are able to hold Man City to maybe a 1 or 2-0 game, and hopefully Haaland stays quiet when I captain Salah. But I'm hoping for big things from him, from Salah, and hopefully he does well and repays the faith that I have in him. So for now, this is how the team is looking like, and let's now take a look at the transfer planner from Fantasy Football Hub and tinker around with the team a little bit to show you guys some potential transfers that I am lining up. So moving over to the Fantasy Football Hub transfer planner, what I've done is I've basically loaded my team into this tool, and it's exactly as you saw in the previous section. And in game week 2, assuming I keep Gabriel and I don't sell him for Saliba or anyone else, then this would be how I'm looking to line up. So as it stands, assuming I give Gabriel one more chance, I'm probably going to roll the transfer into game week 3. So moving over onto game week 3 now, right, it's likely that I'm going to sell Salah, as I mentioned in the first section where we saw he is one of my pending transfers, as with João Pedro as well, the other Brighton boys. But in game week 3, it's likely that I'm going to sell Salah. So let's say I sell Salah, there are a couple of midfield options that I'm considering, and there are a lot of budget options as you guys are aware of. So one of the players I'm considering is Martinelli. I think this one is a fairly straightforward one. Arsenal's fixtures still continue to look really good from game week 3 onwards, so Martinelli is definitely a player that's on my radar. And let's say I don't go for Martinelli, another player that I can go for is actually Bruno Fernandes. Now for Bruno Fernandes, the thing is he does have a really good fixture here. In game week 3, he plays Nottingham Forest at home, right? So it's actually a good time for me to bring him in. And as you guys know, on penalties, nailed for 90 minutes, etc. You guys know the drill with Bruno Fernandes. So assuming I don't want to go for Bruno Fernandes, I can also go for the Tottenham boys, because Tottenham does have a really good fixture in game week 3. And from game week 3 onwards, their fixtures are pretty good, right? In game week 3 specifically, they play Bournemouth, so Richarlison, one of the options I can bring in. And of course, right, if I don't go for Richarlison from Spurs, the next great option is also James Maddison. Right, so loads of options in the midfield that I can go for to replace Salah, and all of them are downgrades. So as you guys can see, I would be left with so much money in the bank, and the second transfer that I will have can be used to address other issues. So firstly, let's say Gabriel still continues to be an issue in game week 3. I could remove him with my second transfer, and there are a couple of players I could go from here. Firstly, I could go for Trippier, because eventually I will want Kieran Trippier in my team. Newcastle are looking really good, so he is one of the players I can look to bring in slightly earlier as well. And of course, aside from that, I could try to go very different here, and I could go for Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? Because after game week 3, yes, Liverpool they do have Newcastle away, but after that, their fixtures aren't too bad at all. So if I look at how Liverpool play, and I do like the positions that Trent is taking up, I could try to go for a very differential player here. And then, of course, aside from Trent and Trippier, as I just mentioned, there is also the obvious replacement, which is just doing Gabriel to Saliba to still continue to cover the Arsenal defense, right? So let's say in the ideal scenario that Gabriel comes back into the team and he starts to continue getting consistent starts, because all of a sudden, let's say, hopefully the Arteta feels Gabriel should be starting, then maybe I can stick to the plan which was already in the works before the season started, where come game week 3, I was likely to downgrade Salah and then swap João Pedro out, because João Pedro's fixtures aren't that great from game week 4 onwards. I could move early here, take João Pedro out, and then go for loads of other options. Let's say Gabriel Jesus is back from injury, right? Gabriel Jesus is definitely someone I could choose to go for. Currently, he is still red flag, so we'll wait to see. But let's say come game week 3, he's fit. Definitely one of the players I can consider. Aside from that, there's also Jackson from Chelsea with great fixtures. And of course, the other options from game week 1 that we were already going for, like Ollie Watkins, who did get an assist in game week 1. But Aston Villa did struggle in the game against Newcastle. So we'll wait and see for the replacements for João Pedro. But mainly for this point in time, I'm really concerned about the Gabriel spot. So the second transfer that I have in game week 3 would likely be to try and address the problems there. So this is what I'm thinking for game week 3, right? Looking forward a little bit. For game week 2, currently as it stands, I've moved back the transfer planner to game week 2. This is likely how my team is going to line up, assuming I still keep Gabriel and give him one more chance. Let me know what you guys think. If you have Gabriel still, what are you doing with him? Let me know down in the comments below. And aside from that, if you don't have Gabriel, what else are you planning to do with your team in game week 2 or moving forward from here as well? I'd be keen to know down in the comments below. But for now, thank you guys for watching to this point. And if you guys want to check out Fantasy Football Hub, they have loads of tools like this transfer planner here. They also have an AI team rating for you as well. And it is actually free to use this AI team rating. So click the link in the description to check it out if you want. And they are currently giving 50% off as well. But for now, thank you guys for watching to this point. And I'll catch you guys in more Game Week 2 content coming really soon. Bye-bye.